Ununited Birth 2 is releasing Thursday, January 25th, 2024. It's going to be super hype for all fighting game fans, Arc System Works fans, and people who just love anime fighting games. However, there's a slight little problem. Tekken 8 releases the next day. It got a lot of people going through it right now saying Under Night 2 is going to fail, Under Night is going to die, but I'm here to talk about why Under Night 2 will still probably triumph as one of the best fighting games of 2024. I am here to discuss with the wonderful Jaidlyn Gaming in Yaya's Corner, my monthly podcast series where I have 12 episodes up throughout the year about various different topics from fighting games, RPGs, and other things I want to talk about. Jaidlyn Gaming is a bubbly personality and a very good time to be around, and she always very helpful and very hopeful for everything around the board. She has commentated some of the most world-renowned tournaments in multi-blood such as the regional finals, even worked at EVO, and she can also sing. She got them pipes.
Wake up, get out there! Are you ready?
So if y'all gonna enjoy this little podcast episode, make sure y'all hit the like button, lock in, and make sure you follow me, subscribe to me, and check out Jaidlyn Gaming on all her socials. Let's get right into it. What is up, everybody? For the first episode of Yaya's Corner, listen, I know y'all been asking for like 4 or 5 months to bring it back. We're bringing it back every month of 2024, and I want to start off with one of the closest, coolest, and most energetic people within the space. Let's introduce the one and only Jaidlyn Gaming. So, go ahead. Go. How you feeling? How you feeling?
I am great. Today is a fantastic day. I get to hang out with you. I get to talk about video games, and honestly, what could be better? I'm just having a fantastic time.
So, look, listen, y'all. I just told her before, and I told her again. I was like, yo, should I hit her up? She seemed like she always busy, you know. To be honest, she is one of my favorite commentators that I've been getting more into it with. And I've been just astounded to see how much she's grown and how many cool opportunities that you have. I was like, I gotta have you on here. If one person at the end of this content creation journey, you got to be on this channel some way, shape, or form. So we're here today. we're here. So I really wanted to ask. Let's just get right into it. I was like, what are your thoughts on Uni Clear? I know, like, right, you've come off of multi-blood commentary, etc., things like that. And is that something you're interested in for the future of commentary? Are you planning on doing Uni Clear? How is it going? We got any surprises coming up?
I don't think it's so much of a surprise. I feel like it's kind of a natural transition for me. I've always really liked the game. I played it a lot. Even in my early days of streaming, I played it a lot. One of my favorite cosplays, which you actually have a video of, is the Eltnum Uni costume. I have that. It's such a great game. There's so much depth. There's so much to learn. I think the system mechanics are fantastic. And I actually did my first Uni commentary back in October at Roundhouse. And I hopefully will get to do some more of that, especially with Uni 2. I think the beta was phenomenal. The netcode felt spectacular. I love the new changes to the characters. I personally settled on Byakuya. And now when I go back to Clear, I'm like, where's my double downs? I need this because there's so much fun.
What is up with you and villains? You have like a attraction, like it was JP, you picked the menace and the villain, and then you went to Under Night and was like, everybody, I call him Spider Kid, but I actually like
Spider Child.
Spider Child, yeah. So,
yeah.
Why do you always pick villains?
And I also play 9 the Phantom.
See, I'm with you on that. I let that slide.
She's evil.
Yeah. You just like villains. You also play
and Vlog.
Yeah. See, you have an affinity for like every game. I feel like can come out, and you can look at the whole roster, and you're like, that bad boy, that bad gal, that's mine. You know.
Pretty much. It seems like really a lot of it is because they have great zoning tools with massive mid-range buttons, which is something that I just work really well with. In Grand Blue right now, I'm actually playing a lot of Anila. For once in my life, not the villain. Okay. Although I was playing Vera in the previous version, although she's not traditionally a villain, she is kind of crazy, so I guess I'll lump her in there. I don't know, I think it's just, I don't know, there's something about a good villain, and they all have the toolkits that jive really well with how I like to play.
Yeah, they're usually like they're kind of like all arounders, if anything. Like not really Shotos, but they usually have like kits that you could do almost everything with. So I respect it. I respect it. Usually,
I appreciate that.
yeah. No, I respect it because me personally, I'm the one that usually would pick the zoner, and this year I've went out of my comfort zone, and I'm trying to find the beauty of Rushdown because I'm not the person that usually plays the Rushdown. I'm like, listen, you step here, you die. Do not cross line. So that's how I usually play like most fighting games. But it's interesting because this year Street Fighter got me. Like Cammy, a character in a good jacket, that took me out. I was like, see, JP would be the character I should play, but I'm gonna play Cammy. So
Yeah, I tried the entire cast in the open beta and for Street Fighter. And I was like, okay, I might play who was I deciding between? I think it was Ken, and I was kind of playing around with Chun-Li. And then when the full game came out, I had no less than 6 different people come up and ask if I was playing JP. And I was like, why would you ask me that? They're like, just play him and you'll understand. And I picked him up and I was like, oh, I got it. And there's just so many tools and it fits the playstyle that I like really well. And even I have tried the other characters. I tried Rashid, I tried Aki. I'm sure I'll try the other ones as they come out. I can't give up my boy JP.
Man, I respect it because I know personally, like with Street Fighter, there's obviously Chun. My favorite character is not in the game, and I'm tired of them not making it in the game. Like, give me my Sakura, please. That's literally all I want. All I want, Capcom. Okay, if y'all see
That's what a lot of people want. They just want Sakura.
Yeah, I'm very big on Sakura. Seeing how this game works, she'd probably be the dopest to be in the game from like the Shoto like archetype. But that's good to know. But how do you feel about Uni in terms of like community? I know they're very tight knit. They're very cool. I've seen the meme. I honestly think they have the best memes. I can't lie. Like every time a new meme comes out, I'm like, who thought of this? Like, it's a leagues above. But how do you feel?
I really like the Uni community. A lot of the Uni and the Melty community overlap because it's French bred, and I'm really thankful and grateful for the opportunity to have gotten to know the Melty community really well through specifically it was the official US tour that happened in 2022, where we had the 3 different offline or online championships for the East, Midwest, and West Coast. And then we all got together with the top 24 at NEC for the grand finals. And so I really got, sort of entrenched within that community. And because of that, I got to know not just the players, but, the commentators, production, they're first of all, production unsung heroes of the FGC, because they make the magic happen on and off screen, literally. And I love them, but I never really knew how many people on production were just invested in French bread, or just were doing Melty, or just were doing anime fighters, and the ability to connect with them and get to work with them throughout an entire year, not just at this, online championship series that ended offline, but also at EVO and at Combo Breaker and at Frosty Faustings and all of those different, tournaments. I got to do a couple of online special tournaments and a charity tournament with them.
Oh my god, that was so dope.
Which is so much fun. I got to do, oh gosh, what was it? The Nyantlet? That was just the all Neko Arc tournament. Oh my god, that was the most insane tournament I've ever commentated in my life, and I've never had so much fun.
Yeah.
But because of that, I've gotten to know more of the Uni players better, and, be able to sit with them in a more casual atmosphere and pick their brains about, what does this character do? Or what do you think about this? Or what are you excited about for the upcoming whatever? And everybody's really kind. I think that's something surprising that, when you're not part of the FGC, you don't think about a lot. Because if you're used to watching tournaments from other, not venues, but from other series and things like that online, like if you're watching League of Legends or Dota or any of the shooters or things like that, everybody is very sectioned and sequestered, and your audience is here, your production is here, your players are here, and in the FGC we're all really mingled, and I have yet to find somebody that I have not liked. Which is so great. I just get to hang out with people and be like, yo, we all chilling now? Cool, great.
Yeah, I think that's something very important about just fighting games and just getting a group of friends to play games with, because Under Night is a very niche-esque anime fighter, and a lot of people like to, try to not group it in that way to where like it's in the same boat as other games. But I do realize that what makes Under Night community so good is that everybody's together. Like I've seen everybody on Twitter, I can see everybody on the stream. People are all there. It's like the community really supports itself and togetherness, even when it comes to like newer players. So
definitely, there's always somewhere to go if you have a question. If you are newer and you want help, there are so many guides. Like I understood the game on a fundamental level, but I wanted to make sure that I really knew what I was talking about for commentary and was diving into a lot of the deeper notes like that. And there, on the wiki for Under Night, there is, I think, an 18-page primer on Grid, and Vorpal, and I'm sitting there being like, thank you to the person who wrote this, which I believe was Infinity, it's a phenomenal primer. And because, on one level you can understand, yes, this is what's happening, but to get down to the number of seconds that each cycle lasts, knowing how many, times this is going to happen during a match, it was incredible, like getting down in that level of detail. And that's just because the community loves each other and they're like, hey, here's your information. Boom.
Yeah. I really do adore that about when in doubt, I always would go to MizumiNet or Dustloop, and then I go down the rabbit hole and I find other pages, and then I end up on YouTube and I'm like, did I even play the game? I'm just absorbing information today. Like,
how did I get here?
Yeah, how did I get here? So that's a beautiful thing about the Uni community. I know there's this big thing that like, and this was a talk like a couple months ago where like they're like, yeah, the Uni community doesn't really make content, but I strongly do feel like Uni community makes content in a place where it matters, and it just helps out in other ways than none. That was something I always stood to test the time on. But I don't know. How do you feel about that when it comes to Uni and content creation? Have you really just focused on it or cared about it? Have you not? It's okay if you didn't, but how do you feel about it in that aspect?
For me personally, I think this is something that I like for creating Uni content. I think when the game comes out, I will probably end up diving into some different aspects of it. It's going to be, what stands out to me as a need in the community, which might be because of my areas of expertise, will most likely be something like commentary related. Like, hey, let's talk about this, or let's talk about this simple thing. A couple months ago, I put out an 8-part series on how to play Melty Blood if you've never played a fighting game before. And it was really well received. And because it was something that several people had asked me, how do you get into this game when you've never played something like this before? Because I do get people into my community who are not fighting game people. Sometimes they come through my Wednesday streams, which are more RPG based or, a little bit more niche. And so to have that idea was really fun. But I think for like high competitive stuff, I'm going to leave that to the people who are great competitors. Tier lists and things like that, leave those to the tier list makers. I for the very first time opened up tier list maker last night because I was trying to figure out something. I was like, oh, this is overwhelming. Yeah. But I think there is content. I think because there have been so many games, and we are so fortunate in the FGC to have had a lot of phenomenal games come out in the past several years. There wasn't as much of a space for Uni content, but now with Uni 2 coming out with new characters, new music, new phenomenal netcode. I cannot say enough good things about the netcode in that beta test. I think, and especially because it's going to be one of the games featured at EVO Japan in 2024, I think there's going to be an explosion of content, and I think it's going to be well received, because for something like that to be featured on a massive international stage early in the year is pretty huge.
See, I knew he was the right person. I knew he was the one, because you see the bigger picture, and that's a beautiful thing about Jaidlyn. You know, very bubbly, very optimistic when it comes to things like that, and I really love that. So that was very important to hear, like, another perspective of Uni, because a lot of people are like, who's gonna play this when Tekken comes out 3 days later, 4 days later? And it's
I think they're right next to each other.
Yeah, very close.
Yeah, but I do want to speak to that a little bit too, because this has come up a lot. I'm sure it's come up a lot for you too. Like, well, what about Uni? You know, man, I wish they were, that and Tekken 8 weren't so close together in release date. Which, of course, yeah, everybody wishes that, but, you know, they're different publishers. It happens. I think there's space for both. And I think that there are communities that, you know, while sometimes some of those people overlap, I know people who play both Uni and Tekken. Not Uni, but another French-bred game, Jimmy, who was, you know, top 8 or top 6 at EVO this past year. Phenomenal Tekken player, did amazingly at Melty. There are people who overlap. I think there's going to be enough community support and enough people playing both that there's going to be success for both of those games.
I like that. See, because it's hard, because I know that, like, the way YouTube works, right? And we'll get into the next question just to overlap into that, but way YouTube works, they want you to push an algorithm of a game, right, or of a thing, right? So in that format, like, I can push Uni, but then, like, I know, like, as a create, like, my game usually, I'll be real honest, like, I always love Tekken, but I think I've gave a greater appreciation ever since my grandfather passed. And Tekken is like, it was our game we talked about. So, like, I was like, you know what? If I'm gonna do it, let's start fresh and let's go hard with it, right? And I can push both, but as a person, I'm not a pro player, right? So my content's from the perspective of how you made that video, those video series, which was really good. Whereas, like, I want to talk about it from the perspective of, like, a new person learning and understanding the game, and then helping people out with just basic things. It's funny because there's a lot of people that don't know what the genre is, right? Believe it or not, and this might sound crazy, there's a lot of people that believe Uncharted's a fighting game with guns. Like, I've asked people like that IRL multiple times, you know, and it's a lot of people that just don't know where to start. It's like, you get this game, you beat the story mode, or I mashed out the story mode. I'm gonna try online. They get cooked. A lot of people get discouraged by that. And that's a very big demanding thing about fighting games. A lot of people don't have the will to keep going. I look at fighting games like a shonen anime. Like, okay, I lost. We're going to run it back until my hands get tired. But I'm going to still keep trying. And I think that's very important that you acknowledge that there is both spaces. So if you ain't hear it from just me, you heard it from Jaidlyn, people. Because I believe they have a space to both thrive. And I believe in that 100%. But my next big question is, I want to ask, how do you feel about fighting game content in general? Like, what's something that you really want more from the space? You know, what do you want to see? What do you think we're missing? Tell me what you feel about that. I really want to know.
You know, this is such a good question. Because, and I'm really glad that you brought up the YouTube algorithm, because there are, you know, as a content creator, there are things that you want to do to make sure that your videos are successful if that's a primary income source. You know, you gotta make your thumbnails a certain way. You have to, like, I've watched videos on how to make thumbnails appropriately, you know, use this kind of text. You have to put your personal, like, your image on one side because of the way that it shows up on mobile or the way that it shows up on a vertical monitor. Things like that. You know, here's the text that you want to be used. When do you use all caps? When do you use bold lettering? When are you releasing your content time of day wise so that you're getting the most views on Impact, East Coast, Central Time, you know, Mountain Time, West Coast, Japan Time, things like that. But you also, you know, as a content creator, especially one who is doing this for a living, you're always chasing the next thing that is going to be getting, you know, traffic into your channel. And I get that. And there are some people who do this really, really, really well. And I think that it's great that we have that in the community. But personally, what I want to see more of is people having fun. And I know that's such a weird, like, blanket statement, but there are some times, and this can happen as content creators, as professionals, where you're just, you know, you find success with your one thing. Say, for example, it is Tekken, since that's something we're talking about. Right. You have put out some great Tekken videos. You are getting all of this traffic to your site. You're getting tons of views. And you're like, cool, this is my thing now. And 6 months down the road, you're burnt out. Because, you know, you're run out of ideas. You're tired of making those thumbnails that say epic this, or, you know, 9,000 corner combo, blah, blah, blah. Come check it out now. Works online. That sort of thing. Like, you're just tired of it. Yeah. And there's something to be said for doing content that, you know, is satisfying for you, that shows the human side of things. I mean, sometimes if you can go to my YouTube channel, my shorts are a place where I like to, you know, do experimental short form content. So sometimes I just do really dopey videos. Yeah. Not that are related to FGC or things like that. Sometimes it's just like, hey, I have an idea. Let's put it out there. Let's see what sticks. And there are some really fun videos out there of people just having a good time. Or there's people who are putting together great informational videos that have cutaways to them having a good time. There's a really good Justin Wong video. I was watching it when I was trying to learn more about Street Fighter 6 and how the drive gauge worked. And it's a phenomenal video. Check it out if you haven't. I think it came out in June of
I know exactly what video you're talking about.
But he's having so much fun in it. Yeah. And you're learning a ton, but there's just so much genuine joy in that content that you're like, you know what, this is cool. I'm just smiling watching this, and I want to see more of that. Make your tier lists, but have fun doing it. You know, show me your gajillion ridiculous corner combo that only works on a Tuesday at 5 p.m. Central Time. I don't know, but have fun.
I love that you said that so much. Like, I love it so much. Because, okay, so I'll give you a background with me. My big frustration is Street Fighter 6. That game, I am infatuated with Street Fighter 6. I love that game so much, right? Like, I'm becoming like the old Niners, where like everything else I play, it's like, this not Street Fighter 6 though, right? Like I've gotten to that point, low key, and it's like so bad. But my problem with Street Fighter 6 is that I play modern, right? So I can't play ranked the same. Like I have documented videos of toxicity of people being like, oh, fatherless behavior because you play modern, like very toxic. Or if I win, I know it's a whole video on my channel. It's literally in defense of modern controls, and I've gotten some of the most toxic comments I've ever seen in the history of me ever playing a fighting game, right? And it's funny, and I played League, and I'm like, hold on, y'all, a lot of people not seeing this. She over here dying. Wow. She over here dying, but it's like when I play ranked, right? When I make videos, I like making references to things, right? Most of my Street Fighter videos, if you've seen any or watched any, I try to reference things that I like. So I'm trying to make a theme into something with Street Fighter, right? And I told my homies at Evo, I was like, I'm going to make a Kingdom Hearts themed Street Fighter video, right? I made the video and I sat there. I was at E. That's when I got that. You know what's funny? I got the answer after I met you at Evo, right? Wow. And I was like, I know how I'm gonna do this, but I'm a very big fan of like parroting content, or like if you ever played it's a SpongeBob game that's just, it's rent free forever, but I've played it long ago, and it's like Camera's Pants. It's like Mario Party SpongeBob, but that game, that game is literally like a basis of like the concept for a lot of videos that I do. And right now it's like, it's hard to play Street Fighter because every time I play it and I do something good, I'm undermined because I'm on modern, right? And it's like, I gotta take a break. So for me, I'm not even burnt out on the game. I'm just waiting till like something super significant happens and I'll just be back on it again, right? But I won't lie, I do miss covering for a long period of time. My main thing was Blaze Blue, right? Blaze Blue's non-existent right now. So it's like, okay, I can go back and make those videos, but then again, like time and effort and stuff like that, you know how it works. Like, I can make a video in 5, and that's the sucky thing about YouTube. What a lot of people don't understand. I can make one video for like Street Fighter in like an hour, or I could spend 5 hours on, you know, a Blaze Blue video, and the Blaze Blue video with the same exact title but just having Blaze Blue would get 500 views, and then the Street Fighter one could potentially hit 50K plus. And for a lot of people, when I make content, like, this is my rule. If I don't feel like doing it, this is not coming out. Like, I'm not gonna force myself to put videos out. Like today, I'll give you a prime example, and y'all gonna see this in the past, okay? So hear me out. I'm working on a Grand Blue Fantasy vs. Rising video because I have been getting tilted. But this way, I was like, you know what? I spent the last 2 days while I was sick figuring out how to control the tilt of me getting mad at the game, right? And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to talk to y'all in today's video because I feel like this is very important. People always talk about how to win, but nobody really talks about how to handle it. And I think that's something important that I would like to see more in content spaces and skits. So
I think, yeah, I like that too. You bring up a really good point. It's a reality thing because social media, you know, in no matter what form you're consuming it in, whether it's Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, however you're getting that, is very slanted. Social media is always going to be that way because as content creators or as just people, as humans, you want to show that you're living your best life. It's, you know, just kind of a thing that we've created. But there's something so grounding in knowing that everybody else is just as human as you are. And a couple months ago now, the PlayStation Discord had a really cool thing where they hosted Angry Bird and Mena talking about their grand final set for Evo. And they just talked through it. They talked through the entire set. You know, what were you thinking? I can't believe you did this. And it was just this really casual back and forth. And then there was a Q&A after. And some things that were brought up were, you know, hey, it was a question from a viewer. They just said, I'm plateauing. I get really frustrated when I lose. I can never win. You know, what's going on? And they both, in this very, you know, it was just so matter of fact. They were like, that happens. If you're not plateauing, if you're not losing, if you're always winning, you're not learning. You know, when you lose, are you examining what you're learning? When you're plateauing, do you know what you're doing that's causing you to stay the same? That sort of thing. And it was just this very human moment of watching these two Street Fighter gods absolutely, you know, educate everybody on, you know, this is okay, this is normal. And I feel like that's something that we don't get sometimes because everybody tries to be perfect. The human aspect of our community is really important, and I think that's something that makes the FGC really different, is because there are a lot of fantastic, amazing, high-level players and star-like commentators and things like that, but everybody is so down to earth and willing to give you the human side of things and good advice when it's solicited.
Dang, that just touched me a little bit. Like, I was like, yeah, that's something that's very important to me overall. As a creator, like, I like to make things clean. And I know I don't have the best equipment in the world, but I'm gonna do the best I can what I can do. And I like showcasing, like, the video, my favorite video this year, and it's not even my best video, like, view wise, you know, whatever. Sometimes to me, it's more to get the message out that can touch people than just the views and analytics. And you can say that's stupid because it's for YouTube and stuff, you should always care and stuff like that. But I know when I made the video, it was doing horrible, and it was overcoming, like, competitors' anxiety. And I never thought it was a thing I would ever get hit with in life, but I'll just run the backstory of that. It was CEO, it was the one towards the end of the pandemic, going up the quotations so somebody gets mad, but throwing it in. It was the CEO that was in the winter, and I went to go play.
December one.
Yeah, the December one. Yep. And I went to play Smash Bros. Now, me personally, I went to go hang out with my friends and get out because I was like, I just need a lot of what's going on that year, you know. And I went to play Smash, and that was the first time in history I've ever went 0-2 in a tournament. That was the first time I've ever went 0-2 in Smash because I'm generally usually like up there in Smash Brothers, but it really hit me in a way because I was losing the matchups that I never lost to, and it just demotivated me in a way of like competing. Like I really let it get to me, even though that wasn't my original purpose, right? And Street Fighter 6, why it's so important to me as a game, not only from a content creator's perspective, it helped me change what I want to do with content. Me personally, a lot of the times, I don't care about winning. I care about doing the cool stuff in bracket. That's where it evolved to now, right? And if I get there along the way, that's cool. But I just want to showcase the cool stuff because that's why I got into fighting games in the first place. And I felt like I regained a piece of myself going to Evo this year, right? And that was very important to me that I had to put that video. If any other video wouldn't have came out this year, that video had to come out. And it's literally called Face Your Fears because I was very like down bad with competing. You know, it's weird because I'm a fighting game content creator, but I don't compete all the time. And I care about the discussions and talking about like, you know, the mechanics of things like that. But I haven't really done much of the competition in like a year and a half or so. So overcoming that was the very human part of myself that not only kind of bled past fighting games and content creation, but life, you know. And I'm really thankful that you brought that up because that really gave me an honest perspective of like how much I've grown this year and where fighting game content needs to go even further. So I appreciate it.
I'm really glad because, you know, you deserve to share that story and it's an important one. So good. Yay.
Yeah. I was just like, that really touched me today. I wasn't trying to get a little teary eyed, but I'm like kind of holding it back a little bit, you know. But yeah. But and lastly, since we talked about content creation, is there anything you would like to do in the future for your content? Like, is there anything you want to plan out, or, you know, right now you've been vibing, you've had cool things. I know you've been singing. That's probably be my favorite streams. I just turn you on while I'm working or editing, so I'd be like, yeah, she's singing. So
yeah, those have been really fun.
Yeah.
That was a cool thing. Just as an aside, in case people don't know,
Mm-hmm.
there's a really cool monthly thing called the Cultural Exchange. It's musicians of all kinds. There's gamers, there's cosplayers, there's content creators, and it's like 70 plus hours of just straight Twitch raid train.
Yo.
And actually, it was Jackie Jing who is the host of the PlayStation portion of Evo's content this year. She and I met at Evo, and we like became really good friends very, very quickly. And she said, "Oh, you like to sing? You should apply for this." And so I did, and got in September, and have been doing it every month since. And as somebody whose background is in music, like for people who don't know me, or who only know me as a commentator.
Mm-hmm.
I have a master's degree in vocal performance. I am a classically trained opera singer. And prior to the pandemic, I was doing musical theater and traveling children's theater. And I have my own voice studio. And I was doing singing with orchestras and stuff like that. And when the pandemic hit, you know, every one of those jobs, save the voice teaching one because I went online, went away.
Right.
And the Cultural Exchange raid train has been an opportunity for me every month to, you know, let's get a new set list together, let's practice, let's, you know, sing things that you like, let's share stories in a different way to get back into that avenue. And that's been a really cathartic thing for me because, you know, for 2.5 some odd years, I wasn't performing anymore. And that was actually a little bit detrimental to me, as somebody who spent a lot of their life in performing in a musical space. So I'm glad that you enjoy those. I will keep doing them. The one next month should be chat request karaoke, so get your requests.
Okay.
As far as your original question with, you know, content that I'm looking forward to creating, I want to do, something that I enjoy making are like compilations and collages of different clips and things. My community, the end of the Grand Blue Fantasy versus Rising CPU Gran in the end of trading mode, because it took me way too long to beat him, and I just got like real mad. I got real mad. And so, and it's funny because it was coming off of, actually Jackie and I were doing a Street Fighter 6 collab that previous Wednesday, and she was getting really angry at one of the tutorial things. She's like, how do people do this? And they were like, you should put this together to show Jackie that it happens to everybody. And I was like, yeah, that's true. But another thing that I want to do, and this has been on my mind for a little while, so hopefully I'll be able to put it out soon, is something called Commentary Camp with Jaidlyn. And it is, you know, starting from square one, the little idea in your head. So I want to be a commentator. Yeah. What do I do? And so going from, you know, what do you do when you want to do this, to, you know, going to your first locals to commentate, to commentating something online, applying for your first major. Oh, cool, you got the major. Now what? Yeah. You know, and, you know, how to evaluate yourself appropriately and things like that, how to take care of yourself, how to give yourself constructive criticism with taking your own ego out of it. And I don't mean ego in the negative way. I mean literally taking the self out so you can evaluate yourself appropriately and being like, hey, you know, that particular thing, here's what you can do to improve. Here's who you can watch. You know, who do you idolize and why? And how are you going to be different from them? That sort of thing. Yeah. So hopefully going to put that out, I say soon, in like the soon TM. So we'll see. It is on my mind. I have a lot of stuff written out for it already. But other than that, you know, just
being
stuff
great.
That makes me happy.
Look. She ain't gotta flex it, y'all. She's just saying I want to be great. That's it. That's how you gotta say. I already know. I'm
not trying to say
that. But it's been really interesting to see how you have come so far in content creation. I've been thinking about ever since I found you from Blaze Blue Cross Tag Battle, around rollback, or probably a little bit earlier if anything. And I was like, yo, she does play 9, and there's more 9 people, and people love 9. I was the 9, and BB Tag specifically, I was there for Ruby, I'm not gonna lie. But my Blaze Blue was like, yo, I'm playing 9, I'm playing Naruto. That's who I'm playing, okay? And I've always been that way with 9. 9 is just, I like the witch colors that they have for her. But lastly, I wanted to ask, because you brought up the idea of making this commentator boot camp, and I love that so much, because I was like, you know what, I should just hit her up and ask her, yo, give me some tips, help me out. But I really do appreciate the fact that you are into fighting game commentary. How did you go about it? How did you get into it? Like, you know, seeing that you went from, now that I know that you were that deep, you was like the avatar of music, okay? You was one of them, all right? So now commentary, I need to know, how did you get to this? You know, that's a big thing.
That is a really good question. And I always say, you could have asked me who my favorite fighting game player is, and I could not tell you. Commentators, I got a list. Okay. I have always had favorite commentators, because commentators, for me, are the people who bring the magic of what's going on screen to life. And that is true regardless, again, of the genre. I have so many people that I've learned from the League of Legends community, from the Dota 2 community. There are some people who do some really great, actually, Ketchup and Mustard often do Quake streams, or they had previously, and I learned so much from their commentary of Quake that I was like, good Lord, this is crazy. But then, you know, fighting games too. And I've been watching tournaments since 2009, regularly since 2009. And the very first one I ever watched was a Street Fighter stream with James and David.
Oh.
And I remember watching them, and I just didn't have any idea of the mechanics of the game and the terminology or anything like that. But watching them, I learned so much that I just felt like I absorbed everything. I was like, this is really cool. And years go by. And how I got into it, I was thrown under the bus by one of my TOs from locals. This was our locals kind of died down a lot when Street Fighter V came out, as probably was experienced by a lot of other things as well. But we were building it back up, and one of our TOs was like, Jaidlyn, go commentate. And it was for Dragon Ball, which I did play at the time. And I was like, no, I don't know. Jaidlyn, sit down. Okay. So I did, and a wonderful commentator known as Airborne is Fly from the Marvel 3 community, love Airborne, sat down next to me, and I knew, because Airborne is the Spider-Man player,
right.
Everybody knows Airborne,
Yeah.
who happens to live down the road from me. And so I sat there, and I've never been so overwhelmed and so thrilled, in my life. It was so cool to sit there and talk about what was happening on screen and try to articulate in a timely manner what was going on. So I just thought, okay, cool.
Okay.
Maybe I'll try this. And at that point, I was very fortunate that I had already met James Chen. And so he and I, had a little bit of a, friendly relationship there. And it was at the next Frosty that I told him, I'm thinking about doing commentary. And he goes, great, do it. And I was like, what? Just do it? He said, yeah, just apply for stuff. And then at Combo Breaker, which I did not apply to commentate, he goes, why didn't you do it? And I was like, I don't know, because I don't know what I'm doing yet. And he goes, just do it. You have to try. And it I'm paraphrasing a bit. It was a much longer conversation each of those times. But because of, there's a long list of people, but I'll keep it short. Because of James, because of Elvin Shadow of Frosty Faustings, who gave me the first offline opportunity in 2020, to Low Kick Esports, who was the stream that I was on that evaluated my commentary reel, Jay Gary, who hired me to go work at Youmacon in 2019, Raf TX, who gave me my very first online opportunity to do commentary. I think that's pretty much the list.
Look,
but also, it's a long list.
It's a long list, I know. But
Yeah.
I just want to let you know, if nobody's ever told you this, you are very inspirational to a lot of people. Okay? The fact that you've been on, PlayStation and all these other places, you've done Evo, it blows my mind every time I hear I know a person that commentated Evo, right? And that's just insane to me. In my personal opinion, I don't think I can't lie to you. You are a GOAT. And in terms of why I like commentary, you are one of them. So
it's kind of crazy because it did sort of hit me this year. Because I have done a lot in a very short period of time. My resume is up on my website if you ever want to go look at it. It's up there, but I was counting, and inside of 3.5 years, I've done over 115 events. That's crazy. And the gravity of, going from small online tournaments to the largest fighting game tournament in the world, has not escaped me. But it really hit me this year how far I've come. And it was at the English broadcast of Evo Japan, because it was just me and those 10 other commentators chilling in the San Francisco studio, and I'm sitting there. I opened with Sajam and Yipes on either side of me.
yeah,
Who can say that? They're just sitting between these two people. And at one point we were on commercial break, and there were a lot of us, because we were in transition of games, sitting in, just watching, hanging out. They were doing some kind of Will It Kill-esque thing on the broadcast, and we were all just, playing along with it. And somebody said, this is really fun. We should do this more. And just sitting with all of those people who I learned from, who I still learn from, who I still strive to be like in different aspects, and take things that, the way that they articulate different ideas, or the way that they have camera presence, or the way that they can bring so much excitement to whatever genre they're doing, but then take that and turn it into what makes me was cool. And to stand there amongst those people who for over a decade I have looked up to, and to be like, I'm here too, was really cool.
That's so amazing. You know, it's funny
Thanks.
because when I got into commentary, people was like, yo, you should try commentary, right? And the big thing about it was I was always afraid to do it. I was like, they're never gonna pick me. Like that's how I used to be about everything. Like I would fill it out and then not get picked or something happen. And I realized I really do enjoy it a lot. And one of the first people I started to realize, and I was like, wait, I know who Jaidlyn is. I know who this is. And it's just all started hitting on me because I know Yipes. Yipes was a very big motivator for me. I used to watch a lot of the old Smash Bros commentary. And I really liked how they added a different insight to gameplay, right? Even if it was just like a game just came out and they did some like breakdowns or just what's happening. I enjoy that type of stuff. I even try to portray that in my own content. It was just very exciting to me to know that like there's people that were scared to start off with commentary. So hearing that from you and how you evolved into it, you had like this anime backstory to like being a commentator.
God, it was.
Yeah, like you went on a whole like Naruto path. Like you didn't care, or you was like, you know what, I didn't want to do this, and now you like up there in the GOATs, like you're like in a Hall of Fame, like in a picture, you know. So I think that's pretty much all I had to ask for today. I'm very thankful having Jaidlyn on. I really do. I really do. She's the GOAT. Like, I'm finally happy I got to do this. We'll be around. I'll have you in more stuff in the future because there's a lot of videos I want to do with more people too. So I'll hit you up as well. But everybody, please make sure you go check out Jaidlyn in the comments. It'll be everywhere. Her pages, the website too. I know y'all asked about it for people that do have websites. I got you. Go ahead. You got any last words? Anything else you want to say, Jaidlyn, for the people?
Play fighting games. They're fun.
Yes.
Just do it.
Yes.
But no, seriously, that is serious. But also, thank you so much for having me on. This has been a ton of fun, and I can't wait to see what 2024 brings for all of us.
So that being said, it's your boy Avataryaya. You guys are golden, and that is wrong. Voila. Peace. I'm out. Hey. She did it, y'all.
Never felt like this. Yeah. Maybe it's the death of me. I'm my own worst enemy.
All right, who's next?
Let's see who's stronger.